Hey everyone, and welcome to Between Plays. What we're going to do is we're going to go over Neolithium a little bit today because it had dipped down, and I was getting a lot of questions and stuff like that, and it ended up in the week of the craziness of what we've witnessed in regards of hedge funds and Wall Street bets and the whole nine yards, and I don't have to get more into that. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. So let's get into Neolithium. All right. Some people are worried about, why is it dipping? Look, off the top of my head, you're looking at a company just recently that, basically had a share dilution because over 30 something million shares were bought at like $3.05. And at that point, we were at like $3.88. So what are you gonna do? I mean, it took a hit, right? It took a hit. Well, we took a hit, right? Then I was reading an article, and in the article, it was mentioning like all these things about Neolithium that just were nice. Like they're touching on the nice things, but there wasn't very much detail. And then they put it as a high risk, like that it still had high risk because we were waiting for construction permits. Like, when I looked at this article and I was going, where's all the great points? I don't see any of the great points that would make someone step back and go, well, there was no mention of the strong strategic partnership with cattle. There is no mention of BlackRock being heavily invested in there. There's no mention of a whole bunch of stuff like the tax incentives that they have with the government for like 30 years. They don't talk about the hectares and hectares of land that basically almost given, and some of it was given, and they have like a serious amount of hectares of land. They don't talk about the quality of the deposit. They don't talk about the fact that the largest battery maker in the world needs lithium, and there you go. I mean, it's right there for them. They don't talk about the industrial park that was. There was no points on. There was nothing of this saying, well, now that we've taken all this into account, let's weigh the risks. Because, in university, I did risk analysis. Well, that was, courses in what I was taking. And, in order to measure risk, you have to measure all the variables. You can't just pick and choose what you decide to put into an article and then after that say, well, this is the risk associated. No, it doesn't work that way. That is horrible. That that is like it's just out the window. When I read the article, I was like, I can't believe it. Then I read another article about like basically important lithium companies, and Neolithium wasn't in it. So I'm just going, what I really pay attention to a lot in the stock market is bait and switch or making me look left and right type thing. So if they want me to look right, I tend to look left. And if they say something is like really horrible, then I take another look at it and I try to figure out why is it so horrible. In some cases it is, but in some cases, you gotta look. We saw what happened on with the media on Thursday, right? Was it Thursday last week? The hedge funds, basically started like, they were, well, they can't do this. It's, anyways. And then you saw the media come out in the daytime. There was an article that came out right in the middle of the day when basically Robinhood just, stopped selling shares of, I think it was GME. And basically, as the stock started to tank, an article came out later on in the evening, that day, in the daytime, I believe it was. And it was basically saying, like, well, this is why, retail investors don't know what they're doing. Look at this. Look at what's happening. No mention at all about what was happening behind the scenes. So, I don't use the media as a how can I say it? I don't use the media as a well, I use it as a tool, a way of probably calculating how I'm going to make it as I use it as a tool because naturally, if the media is building hype on something, then people are going to get into the stock, right? So the more news that comes out on something, then of course naturally creates hype that can create momentum, and then you can have a spike. So I see that media is a great tool to use depending on how you want to play stocks, and it can give you sort of like, depending on how your mindset is, depending if like I highly, like, anyone that ever asks me, like, I highly suggest they look at like millions of videos on Timothy Sykes. Like, just don't stop. Like, take his course. Like, buy the penny stock book. Like invest yourself. And at the same time, I also state to go crazy on like Warren Buffett. Value stocks, right? Go into that. Go and check all that out, and read about his life and his first trades, and what it taught him. And then I'll like, honestly, Ray Dalio, I mean, for diversity of your portfolio, and then of course ARK Investments, disruptive sectors, right? So anyways, so I think that when you put all of these together, you put all of these together, and then you weigh, utilizing the news just as a tool, but your due diligence, your research, right, has to come from the fundamentals of the company, especially if you're going long term, and if you're a day trader, like, you gotta, I would once again highly suggest like Sykes patterns, like, learn them. And anyway, look, all this to say is that when I look at Neolithium and I see cattle, I'm looking at something that's long term. I mean, everything is in place, and when I see these articles, like, telling like less than half a story, but then putting in the scariest thing: are they going to get their construction permits? Ooh. Are they going to get their... Ooh, I'm so scared. Well, you didn't mention any of the good things. So, of course, it's very scary, right? And it's funny that it happens right before the inflection point. If you look at my last video, all right, I'll put it up here. So you'll be able to just tap it. And I'll put it at the end also. If you look at the inflection point, is right around the corner. So now all of a sudden there's articles coming out. We must be very, very careful about this, stock in particular. Really? Where was all those articles before? So let's just go over a few things, right, that I find is very important, so that we refresh people's mind. Now, before we get into those few things, when the stock went down below $3, and I was getting phone calls, and they were like, did you, or text messages and stuff like that, did you see it's tanking, or it's going down? And I was like, is there any bad news? Well, I don't know. Well, is there any bad news? I went and took a look, just because I'm getting, and naturally, I wasn't worried at all. But I had to go take a look because I have friends that are in the company that, I suggested maybe you should get into this. So naturally, I'm going to have to go and look. I can't be that person that's not going to go and look. That's absolutely ridiculous. So I go and look for negative news. I only saw positive news. And, you take that into account. You're like, well, there's nothing there. And I mean, I scoured. I was going through, different ways of like searching for news, and I couldn't find anything negative, just positive. So all that being said, let's get into a few few things here, and I'm just gonna put it up. Well, I'll put it half screen, and we'll look at it this way. All right. So now this is the next major lithium producer. As you can see, Neolithium puts it up as the next major lithium producer. Now, the articles are not that I've seen that I was mentioning don't state this. They don't state that it's the next major lithium producer. They don't talk about that at all. It's like it's just not very convincing. The fact that they don't mention one little piece of that. Okay, so basically, let's just take a look here at some of the points that these articles are missing on. So when you look here, we're on the cusp of a global energy transformation on the back of lithium-ion battery technology. Now, if you look at Cattle also just stated about their solid-state batteries, which is going to take lithium. So, I mean, lithium is, pretty much here to stay. Let's go through some other stuff. So, home project. Let's get into the project. The 3Q project, okay? Project summary. World-class asset based on top of 3 metrics. The top 5 largest brine deposits in the world. Top 3 highest lithium brine grade in the world. Lowest combined sulfate and magnesium impurities worldwide. I mean, now we're at 99.8. I know they're going to say 797, but Neolithium and their Twitter feed put at 99.8. Okay, so PFS results. All right, just look at all this. US 1.1 billion. Located in the lithium triangle, where for over 40% of the global lithium is produced, Neolithium controls 100% of the project and the Salar Basin. No inhabitants or Aboriginal community in the area. Fully permitted up to construction. Like, where was that in the article? Like, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't you put that in the article? That, they're fully permitted right up to the construction. Like, you know that over 90% of their workers are like Argentinians. Anyways, and how about the tax stability agreement granted by federal government for 30 years? I guess there's no intention of building this construction, right? There must be zero intentions of constructing this. None whatsoever. I mean, it's high risk because we don't know if they're going to get the permits. I mean, if I just take, all right, the fact, well, I'm not even, just this alone, just the tax, okay, the federal government gives, the tax incentive for 30 years. They control 100%. Okay, that's fine. Right, well, and let's just go with the tax, okay, for 30 years. Just that alone shows that on the part of the government, there's interest. So why wouldn't you put that? Just that alone, your risk goes down, immensely. All right, because like if I was the government I would just be like, well, why would I give you a tax incentive? No, man, like you're on your own. Like we'll see what happens when you get there, But if I'm saying you want to do that there, how much are you going to employ? How many people you're going to? Well, yeah, okay, sure. It shows an interest, right? Let's go into leadership. Now you don't have this, the people here. This is not a joke. These are people with experience for many years. Like Waldo Perez, all these people here. Check this out. I'm just going to go right to the bottom, right? To the team, because I'm not going to go and name everyone over here. Investor. There's advisory team is second to none from engineers, scientists, and investor relations expertise. This team has knowledge and experience to guide the project to production. Here are some of the key people leading the team of advisors. Now watch this here, okay? So our world-class team has brought together the experience of Chilean lithium brine producers and world-class mining companies to create what we believe will be one of the lowest cost lithium producers in the market. Neolithium is very proud of the team developing the 3Q project. As of 2020, our team includes more than 40 engineers and technicians with many years of lithium and mining expertise, right? Our engineers previously worked in companies like SQM, Orocobre, Lithium Americas, Cauchy, and Mineral Alumbrera, Barrick, and BHP. Now, this is not a joke. These guys they're experienced. They're experienced. Naturally, I can get even more in depth into who went from start to finish on projects, but I'm just trying to show like this one article that like there's a lot of things that no one talked about. So working to achieve a sustainable future for the planet. All right. Then of course you have the ethical, environmental, economic, and social values to co-create the most important sustainable lithium project in Argentina. Oil. Okay, it talks about being the primary source. And environment, dimension, global. Today's electric vehicles. Okay, so basically they're talking about team health and safety. You know, our focus. It's gonna tell you all. It's a social responsibility in community. You got to go through this stuff here. Social responsibility community. So if we go through here, like we involved in the communities project from the beginning. So the communities are involved. The 3Q project is known to be the people's project. We aim to have a positive impact in the communities that surround us. We see them as social partners. We share efforts and success with our efforts. So operation and logistics office, Katamari Fiambala. You can see here permanent information sessions, visit to pilot plants, 109 people plants since 2009 until the date, visits to projects. There's training courses for live and online so that people can be so for the community as well as our own for the employees are there. There's workshops, participants, hiring local people. The 2020 says 75% of local employees, and I believe the number is higher than from what I read. Active support for sports and culture, where they've sponsored a local marathon runner. Okay, running clinic, finance the running clinic, teaches 20 kids that will continue to grow professional runners. And developing local agriculture, when the province donated 281 kilos of alfalfa seeds to more than 100 local producers from a small town 50 kilometers up north from Fiambala, planting a future for their own economic growth. Sport, education, training for full benefit. So these are just some of social responsibility. Let's look at the fact sheet over here. All right. When you look at the fact sheet, located in the lithium triangle, all right, over 40%, a greater than 90% brine resources, high grade, low impurities, large basic reserves, best in class, strategic partnership with cattle, largely private producers, strong local technical experience. You're not dealing with with that type of company, right? And if you look at everything that they've done, like just look here, 50 kilometers of seismic survey, 48 holes, 23 long-term pump tests. I mean, they're already doing stuff. I mean, if you look at Yahoo Finance, you'll see in my last video that you're going to see that they went from like negative earnings to positive earnings in the last, I think it was 2018, 2019, and it'll be it in 2020, I'm sure. So if we go to Neolithium's homepage, you're going to have over here is, I advise you guys to all watch this. When it pops up, click on this and watch this video. Now, discovery, and if you go through all these things of financing and resources, now where is announced a preliminary economic assessment, financing warrants. See, paving way for final mining approvals. All right. So, okay, so over here, comprehensive environmental baseline study finalized with positive results submitted. Canada paving way for final mining approvals. This is in 2018. Pilot evaporation ponds expanded, producing high grade concentrate and lithium carbonate pilot plant. So pilot plant is completed, with operation and training starting immediately. And this is why in 2018 you could see that there's a revenue thing. It just changes, right? If you look at Yahoo Finance, and 2019 is positive again. So pilot plant operation successfully completed and tested. Pilot plant built by the Instituto de Investigaciones Tecnológicas from Universidad de Concepción, Chile, and has shipped the plant to the warehouse in Fiambala. Pre-feasibility study after tax, and announced submissions around impact assessment. Successful production of 99.1. Now we're at 99.8. Then here's the industrial park, October 2019. Creation of lithium industrial park in Fiambala for the future construction of a plant. All right. And they have the industrial park. Now I wanted to show you this. Look at this, the hectares of land. All right, 35,000 hectares of land. And this is basically what is important, because if you look at the agreements that they have to get those hectares of land, it's quite impressive. Hosted in the oldest lithium producing province in Argentina, located at 4,000 meters above sea level, 30 kilometers from the Chilean border, direct road access to Pacific ports and highways, Atlantic ports through the highways and railroad. Closest population center project is the town of Fiambala, Argentina, population of 5,000, located 100 kilometers east of the project. Now, what I found interesting was, so production scale pilot evaporation ponds in production for almost 2 years. Evaporation proven to produce up to 3.6% lithium concentrate brine, very low impurities, no consumption of reagents, resulting in lower cost operation of brines, automated thickeners to remove calcium chloride with physical parameters monitored 24/7. Here's a lithium pilot plant over here. Process improved, battery grade already achieved, and this was before 99.8. Simplified, innovative 6-step process, lithium carbonate production. See, this is what I'm talking about. This was when it was at 99.6, right? So 12 batches of lithium carbonate so far. 3Q process that explains the salar, all right? The feasibility is a preliminary feasibility study, which is finished, right? Because we're in the final feasibility study. And that's what I'm talking about. It's before the inflection point, which you have to go watch the other video. So there was something really cool about the whole hectare land thing and the way here, let's see if I could find that. So look at this. Neolithium granted Argentina land for carbonate plant. All right. Canada's Neolithium Corp has been granted 349 hectares of the land to build a full-scale carbonate plant as part of the Turquoise Lithium project. The municipality unanimously backed development of the park, giving the 349 chunk of land to Neolithium free of charge. Where the hell was that in that article? Are you telling me that that this is so high risk to get the construction permits? Look, I'm not saying that there's no risk. That would be ignorant for me to say that, right? There's still risk, but when you measure the risk according to that article I read and how it was stated, okay, not stating any of these other things, well, the risk seemed very high. It would scare anyone out of it. For myself, I don't have that same risk analysis if I was just reading that. Anyways, let's continue with this. Both Neolithium and the municipality expect other lithium and related industry participants to follow and establish a presence at Fiambala Industrial Park. Neolithium said it was currently ironing out the details for a 30-year land use agreement to follow on from the initial memorandum of understanding signed with the municipality in February 2018, followed by a general agreement in June. We are working together with the authorities of the municipality to ensure that the 3Q project provides significant benefits of the Fiambala community. We are proud to be the largest private employer in Fiambala. The largest private employer on top of it all in Fiambala, and are overwhelmed with the support and level of collaboration we have received thus far from the community and the authorities. The industrial park will be powered by a new 11 megawatt photovoltaic installation in the city, which also is connected to a new 22 megawatt plant. The company will augment available fresh water sources, because they created 2 freshwater sources, one for the industrial park and one for the project, by building a dedicated well for the project. Here we are, which was drilled down to 120 meters and now yields 200 cubic meter per hour flow rate. So one was for a project and one was for the industrial park. Neolithium shares were trading at 12-month low of is that 45 cents. So having dropped 55% in the period, the company has current market value of 53.3. So that's the one I wanted to show you about the land. And now look at how much land did I say that they had? It was a crazy amount. 35,000 hectares. Look, this is a huge project. Cattle needs. Let's just get out. The reason why I don't want to mention the articles and stuff like that is because I don't want to bash them directly. All right, but it's the reason why I mention the articles is because I think that it's important to mention that when you read an article, if you haven't done your due diligence, you can be thrown off. For example, in the summertime of 2020, the headlines of articles were saying Carnival Cruise Lines getting rid of like 13 or 15 ships, which scared the crap out of a few of my friends. And I was like, well, it was already projected to get rid of a whole bunch of ships. I mean, a whole bunch of them are like not good. They need to go to a junkyard. They have like. Did you know that they have like 10 brand new ships coming in, like for over 5,000 passengers, on LNG technology with battery technology and stuff like that. Like they're going to reduce their costs immensely. It's also part of the program that they have going on for the green initiative on the seas. Like, did you know any of that? Well, they were supposed to. I'm like, actually, COVID did them. No, I can't say that. I can't say that they did them a favor because they're losing so much money. But I mean, they got to concentrate on getting rid of what they didn't want. That's all I'm saying. Because even for myself, COVID, gave us time to be able to focus on different things. Even if you didn't want to focus on those things, you don't really have a choice because you're stuck at home, and well, you may as well do that. So it gave them the time to say, well, we need to cut costs because we're paying all these ports, right? So no, not stated in the article about how much money they're going to save now by eliminating all the scraps, because look, I know a lot of people love the ships that they were on because there's memories on them and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, after years and years and years, the ships they have decay, and they have the newer versions that are going to make everything more enjoyable. I mean, if you look at the ships, look at my past video on the ships, and you will see they're just absolutely crazy. So all I have to say is that I don't want to put up the articles, but if someone was reading those articles, that's why I created this. You will know exactly what I'm talking about. So yes, they are waiting for the construction permit, which was also in the last video, the inflection point. This is when they're going to construct. And by the springtime, I believe that our springtime is their fall. Always don't forget. They're down below the equator. So, winter, summer, winter, right? So, and when it's going to be our spring, it's going to be their fall. So they're trying to get everything done before their winter, which is going to be our summer. So, in our summer, basically, we're going to be like I believe we're going to be seeing the stock go up. All right, because they're going to have their final feasibility study finished, and the permits are going to be, look, they already hired the engineering company. Here, let's just go take a look at that. Okay, so here we are. All right, Neolithium hires engineering giant Worley for 3Q project DFS as lithium carbonate prices recover. So the decision to progress to the definitive feasibility study, which some people call it the final feasibility study, was made in conjunction with EV battery giant Contemporary, so Cattle, which is now owned 8% of the company. So we know this, right? It's in all the other videos. So said it has hired leading global engineering firm Worley to carry out a definitive feasibility study, which some people say final feasibility study, on its flagship 3Q, because it's not the pre-feasibility study, it's a definitive one. That's the one that comes after. So final feasibility study is what some people say to replace the definitive part, because it's not pre, right? It's not a P. So definitely on its flagship 3Q project guarantee, one of the highest grade lithium in the world. Come on, okay, whatever. That's not the part that's important. Asset was in conjunction. Okay, we already know this. Coming after invested $8.6 million and will participate in all the technical matters. That, they have a guy on the ground. They have a guy that's on board. There's two guys from Cattle that's basically making sure that this project is on hand. Neolithium closes equity investment from Cattle. The world's okay. So Worley is leading global engineering firm involved in all aspects of lithium brine operations, which will be invaluable in executing our DFS. Neolithium statement. Neolithium has been operating pilot evacuation plant for the site for more than 3 years, which is what I stated, right? 2018, 2019, the Yahoo Finance, you're going to see their earnings are positive, meaning the firm has increasingly gathered more information on the project as well, of course. As far as it maintains steady pilot, all right, let's look for something here. So the P, see, remember there's a P here. So a previous study published in May 2019 showed robust numbers. 20,000, okay, production a year after tax net, 8% discount. And the internal rate of return was put at impressive 49.9% with capex of 318 and payback of 20 months using a lithium carbonate price per ton, 35-year mine life. The 3Q lithium project lies in the largest lithium producing area in Argentina, around 35,000 hectares, including a salar complex of around 16,000 hectares. So basically, the company said it bodes well for long-term price expectations and pricing assumptions, DFS, more importantly, and it's in a continuous financing strategy negotiations. Now, so they hired the engineering company. Think about that. Think about all the other things that you've seen in this video. I didn't invent them. There's stuff on their website. It's stuff that's been negotiated with the Argentinian government. 35-year mine life, 30 years tax incentive. Because they can increase the production of over 20. If I remember off the top of my head, I believe it can go up to 40. So 40 tons. But that's if need be. Now, I just wanted to show you this because I knew it, but I didn't want to just state something without showing you. So in productiveinvestors.com, it says, on continuous mode, the plant can produce up to 40 tons a year. So this was the pre-feasibility, was published in May 2008, showed a robust numbers. Output was put at 20,000 tons of lithium carbonate production a year with an after-tax net, which we read earlier. But on continuous mode, the plant can produce up to 40 tons a year. So this is the part that a lot of people don't mention as well. They don't know that. So on continuous mode. So if they need more, they can go and extract more. This is not in any one of the articles I've seen. And how can you not include, cattle in a lithium? I mean, the largest battery maker on the planet, and you don't include that this project is an important project, mining for lithium. That's why. So that's why I tell everybody, and that's why we call it between plays, right? It's because it's what happens between plays where it counts. I mean, you can play hockey and just go on the ice and play against the other team, but if you don't know who you're playing against, who the players are, well, good luck. Same thing in boxing or in MMA. It doesn't matter what sport it is. It doesn't. Irregardless, if you don't do your research on on the competition, if you don't do your research, and if you don't prepare, plan how you're going to train or whatever, how are you going to execute? I mean, you need to know. So that's why I call it between plays, because I noticed that in anything in life, doesn't matter what it is in life, you need to research. You're going into investing for real estate, you need to research. What's the number one thing? Location, 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 right? It's true. So you need to research. You need to research a ton of stuff. Are there airplanes flying overhead constantly? You need to research. It doesn't matter what it is. So, yeah. So basically, between plays, research what's out there. Don't just read an article or a headline. Do the research. All right. Prepare, plan. What's your strategy on this company? Now, is it a swing trade? Is it long? And if you're going long, the execution, when's your out? Like, do you have an out? And is this company paying dividends? What's your strategy with this company long term? All right. So that's why we call ourselves between plays, because naturally we do have a sports aspect of this that's going to be on Twitch, and we do have a between plays sports that's on YouTube. You can look that up. You'll see there's like 2 things that's on there, but between plays is going to be bigger than just a stock market entertainment channel. It's an entertainment channel that within the years of progressing, it's going to be more. So that all being said, with Neolithium, in my opinion, the risk is minimal, and not at a maximum like the article that I had read put it at, because it mentioned none of what I mentioned here. Actually, you know, guys, I'd like to hear what you think in the comments after seeing this video. How much risk do you associate with them getting a construction permit after everything that you've seen right there? So, all right, guys, on that, I am completely bullish. I have a ton of money in Neolithium from way back after doing tons of research. I mean, I probably started doing videos on this company in something like September, but I was probably in it before that. So basically, I'm very bullish on Neolithium. Their timelines, if you look at their timelines, are dead on. And I think that their timelines for the future are going to be dead on as well. And that's my opinion. So do your due diligence, and bullish on Neolithium. I am holding. You can shake the tree as much as you want. I'm not getting out. Stay strong, everybody. Hello to everyone out there. Just taking 2 seconds of your time and asking you to hit the subscribe and the like button. I'd like to also direct you to betweenplays.com, www.betweenplays.com, where we put up many different articles. We have 3 different writers at the moment, and we're trying to up the authors. And go to our Twitter account for like really quick information at Betweenplays1, and we'll be able to get people to, you know, pre-market information and whatever comes along that, you know, is important to macroeconomics, microeconomics. As we say here, our motto: research, prepare, plan, execute. Always do your due diligence, and stay strong, everybody. Stay strong.